YouTube, it's Brad Phillips again. 90mm Viper jet. This thing is awesome. We're gonna show you what we did. We put in the pilot fatigue setting like I did on the 80mm F-16 Falcon. And the pilot fatigue setting, we'll show you exactly how to set that up. I mean, I totally came up with that out of my head, so hopefully it's not some encroachment on copyright. But here we go, so throttle cuts off. I'm gonna just show you how this is set up. Okay, so we got the forward throttle, controllable thrust reverse, okay? And then pilot fatigue, okay? Pilot fatigue means when you're landing, you don't have a lot of things you have to think about. You just throttle cuts on. You just pull that stick back and you're done. Then it slows you down. All right, don't roll off in the ditch. We're gonna reset and take off. All right, takeoff flaps are dialed in. Up we are. Here we go. Full speed pass. 7006S. Beautiful. Guys, this plane is so sweet. So fast. Oh yeah. And just to be clear, it is not dead calm today. We got a little bit of wind. Here we go, full speed again. I love the scream. All right, guys. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Watch this thing slow down on the way downhill. Look at this. Look how well behaved that is, guys. And yes, there is a crosswind. That's why the tail's wiggling. Full throttle, out of the flaps, and up. Look at this. Look. That is amazing. Oh man, that is so cool. Throttle to get her flying. Man, I'm loving it. Okay, so let's try. I want to see how this pilot fatigue setting works, hon.
Okay.
Takeoff flaps, gear coming down, landing flaps. Look at that. Sorry, I can't. I gotta take it as a touch and go. It's too good. Do you guys see that power? Man, those LEDs are bright. I'm loving it. I know I said I was gonna try the pilot fatigue, but I lied. Sorry, folks. It was just too good. It was too good. Okay, takeoff flaps. Landing flaps, man, that thing slows down beautifully. Okay, that's our timer, so we're gonna have to take it this time probably. Pilot fatigue. And switching to controllable. There it is. Guys, that is so awesome.
That's good.
Okay, so I'm in controllable. And look at this, guys. Turn that thing around, no problem. Oh, that is so easy to do. I'm loving it. Check this out. Okay, so I'm gonna come forward and then just switch to pilot fatigue. Oh, that is so nice. Flip of the switch and then back. Into controllable mode. It's just so nice because you don't have to think about it. It just happens. And that's what you all assume is gonna be true with a thrust reverse until you actually get out there in the real world and you try it and you're like, wow, it's not that way. Okay, so a couple thoughts real quick before we try to take off again with the 7000. We need to check our battery. So I'm gonna just get in position, and I don't know if you guys can feel that at our back. Probably not, because you're on the other side of a computer screen or a smartphone, but look at that windsock. Look at that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at this thing rolling. It's like a sail. Like it's like a sailboat or something. This is so weird. I know it's got bearings in there, but goodness gracious. Okay, so we finally stopped. So let's look at the smart battery. 3.9. I think it's time. I think we can switch out. We haven't tried this with a 5000. That was mostly a test flight to help us orient ourselves with the thrust reverse. and I was super duper happy with the way that works. So we're gonna go ahead and switch batteries and come right back. All right, so we're gonna try with a 5,000 this time. As you can see where we've got the 7,000, I use this extra strap just to kind of keep things from slipping. And so we're gonna de-energize this thing. That 7,000 is pretty good. It's not like anything crazy. In terms of heat, I laid it flat instead of vertical just to see if that made an improvement. It really didn't make a big difference. I would just put it vertical. It's a lot easier. Okay, so we're gonna pop this out. And unfortunately, this one likes to tip back like that. Oh, that's not bad. That's actually pretty reasonable.
No,
so
not bad.
I'm thinking that we're gonna have to be very respectful of our timer though,
Okay.
and or voltage alarm. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and plop this one in here, and we're just gonna double check. I think I'm gonna go straight to the edge of this and see what our CG looks like, because this is all marked for the 7,000. So I wanna make sure that we're good before I get myself into a tough spot. This plane, okay, so the way I bounced it out, I basically went just a little teeny bit ahead of this hole here, okay? But when I balanced it, I want it to be tail heavy on the front one for sure, and then just basically right at or slightly behind this for the center of gravity. Now, the reason we do that on EDF jets, in my experience, is that you want to be able to flare them. As you noticed, I didn't really flare that plane on landing. So, to be clear, you can still slow this thing down a lot more than I was, because I don't even try to flare it necessarily if it comes in and does a great job. So, we'll go ahead and plug this in. If you want to hold this, you can plug that one lead in there, the negative lead, and it'll help you simulate the position of the battery, because those leads are heavy actually. Okay, so let's flip this plane over, gear down. Admittedly, I think I had my gear up when I was checking the CG. Was it? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so, yep, so we're just barely tail heavy there. I'm okay with it. I'm just gonna go straight with the battery where the straps are. And we did do our setup and testing for the pilot fatigue with the 7000 6S that we just filmed with. So it might be that we lost a little bit of our juice there, and that might explain the shorter flight time than I expected. So we are gonna do this again. Okay, so we're good there. All right, throttle cuts off. We're gonna go into not pilot fatigue mode, but just controllable, so we can control this. I think we have a spectator down there, so we're good. All right, so here goes nothing. So we're going into regular mode, takeoff flaps. Here goes nothing, guys. Oh, beautiful.
That was good.
Man, that thing gets up quick with 5,000. Okay, out of the throttle. Clearing my timer. I did not clear it before we took off, but no biggie. Okay, and up we go. There you go. Oh, that's so cool. Amazing. So cool. Okay, we're good now.
Mm-hmm.
Full throttle. See if we can catch him. Oh yeah. And coming around and down. You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. You guys may not be able to tell, but it is gusty.
It is.
And this thing is doing just fine with it. I am being nice to my pack today. I'm not trying to destroy and brutalize the thing. Oh, that's so cool, guys. 2 minutes 16 on the timer. One thing I just noticed today while I was taking off and I realized I hadn't cleared my timer. Okay, let's do a full landing flap. Let's see it slow down here. Look at this thing. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that, guys. It's like a kid's toy now. That is just incredible, like kitten-like. And look how fast it recovers from that. It's amazing. Guys, I get into jets, okay? EDF jets are cool, but they're also one of my biggest challenges, and my batteries kind of hate them because I'm the pilot. All right, here we go. Oh, I can't resist. Here we go. You good?
Mm-hmm.
Very good roll rate. Really happy with all the controls. The controls, they're all really good. Take off flat pass this time. Just bringing it nice and low. The wind is at about a 40 degrees, maybe 45-degree angle of the runway, if you will. And that's part of the reason why I'm having to be a little bit conservative, because of signage that's on the opposite side of the road there. Okay, so I'm going to come in. We're going to try for a touch and go. Gear coming out. Full landing flap deployment. Man, it's so slow. Look at this. I'm going to be waiting around for it here. Anybody seen an aircraft carrier around here? Sorry, I couldn't resist. Look at that, guys. Pilot fatigue. Keep driving it like usual. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good, guys. Put it right back to normal mode here. We're just gonna turn it around. Good turnaround. Good turnaround, guys. Look how, that's really not too bad. We got about 25 feet of road here. So if your strip is wider, you're gonna be even better off. All I can say is blown away. Love this plane. Yes, I am a sucker for e-flite. Yes, I am a Horizon fanboy. Everybody knows that. I was before we were working with them, and I am still now while we're working with them. They have proven to be good every time they come out with something like this. I'm gonna throttle cut this real quick. I just wanna, by the way, I also, when you make videos like this, you realize all the things you said wrong. So this is a trailing link landing gear, okay? Look how soft it is on the suspension. That is glorious. The nose gear is firmer, which is what you need. Look how nice and soft that is. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. We have reviewed a lot of competitive planes this year, and we love this plane. It is a great plane. Is it gonna be the one that everybody buys? Probably not. I can tell you this, more people are gonna buy the 70 millimeter, but this thing is awesome. It's like twice the plane. And it's only 1,400 millimeters compared to 1,200 millimeters. So it's not so huge that you can't get it in your house. And yes, everything comes apart really easy. This assembly, when you get it out of the box, it's quick, it's easy. You're not gonna have any problems. So guys, without further ado, if you haven't bought one for yourself, you may wanna seriously consider it. It is just definitely worth it. So guys, if you haven't already bought one, we would really appreciate it if you would consider buying from the links in the video description. You don't have to search around to find it. It's right there. And then of course we get a little kickback from the companies, which is nice. That helps to fund our channel, and we can bring you more and more RC stuff. At this point, we just really love doing it, and we want to bring you the best stuff, the latest and greatest. And obviously that goes, it should go without saying, it takes a lot of effort to put this stuff together. So obviously the camera crew is dragged into this. She isn't intimately as in love with the aviation thing as I am. Some would consider me to be obsessive, while she is more tolerant. But we love bringing you the latest and greatest, and these things are awesome. We hope that you get an opportunity to experience some of these planes. And honestly, if you can't buy them and you want to help support us, we do have the Patreon. If you don't like monthly support stuff like Patreon, then we also have a PayPal thing there. But really, we think the most equitable way is just buy the planes. You'll love them. And if you don't like this one, maybe the 70 millimeter is on the docket. It is a great plane, really good, but you do have to be careful about the landing gear in grass. And also, I'm just gonna throw this out there as a juxtapose. If you like this plane, but you don't like the looks of it, the FMS Futura is awesome. It's got great landing gear. It's gonna probably be close on price point, but it's an 80, it's a lot smaller. If you liked the Sirius the other day, it's good too, but it's not on the same echelon as this one because of the 90 millimeter EDF. And also, I feel like the performance in vertical, this is great for as big as it is. I felt like the 5000 did really good on the 5000. Oh, and then just talking about battery usage, we're at 2.6. Or 20.6 rather, on nominal, which puts you at 3.8, which they're claiming is this. I don't know why they claim that, but it is what it is. So I think this thing could do probably conservatively on a calm day, which you're going to use more power when you've got wind pushing you all the way up and down your straightaway. I think you could probably get 4 minutes. 4.5 minutes would be on the long end, I would say. On a 7,000, you might be able to get 5.5. And when I say you might be able to get it, you can set up the audio events, get your alarm set, and you can get that added layer of protection, and then have like 1/4 minute intervals on your audio event for the warning. But in terms of flying on 5,000, it felt a little bit lighter on its feet. I think with this crosswind and just the way that it's turbulated and it's kind of like variable, it doesn't make it look as good straightforward because it was waggling a lot. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I definitely could tell. And the thing is, you don't even set up these control horns. This thing goes together so easy. You literally take it out of the box, and like the worst part is like opening up the box. I mean, it's
Taking
like
all the parts out takes longer than like putting them together.
Over here, if you get to where you don't want as much yaw correction, you can either totally reset the receiver and reset your gains, which I would not recommend, or you can take this off and go to the inside hole. That's going to make it worse. Or you go to the next inside hole, which is actually going to decrease the output of that, but the receiver itself will not know any better. So that's one way you can cheat some of the electronics that are designed in here. So all you'd have to do is pop this screw out. You can use a Phillips screw, or you can use a Polar and pop that off of the ball end there, and then you can go into the next hole in, and that will help alleviate some of the wiggle on your yaw axis. I'm not going to mess with it because typically we don't go out of our way to fly in the heavier crosswinds. And also I think our runway would probably work for this plane, but I'm just still new enough with it. I don't want to compromise this plane. I like it a lot. I know we flew off of the main runway for the Maiden, the True Maiden. But I just think it's going to fit a little bit better on a longer runway. It does get stopped quicker than what I did here, by the way. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Sometimes on these jets, if you want to land it and you want to get it down on the ground faster, you can actually go into the takeoff flaps and not even go into the landing flaps. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but a lot of times you can get into the flare a little bit easier. And if you want to maybe throw the landing flaps on when you're in ground effect, yeah, it might be okay. But really, you get into this angle and you use the plane to slow you down. You don't even really need the thrust reverse, but I'll tell you what, I use the thrust reverse. I love the thrust reverse. And plus with the crown of the road in this application, it gives me a lot of peace of mind because I know that, hey, I don't have to get 800 feet out and then run up there and go get it. I can just, back up out of the way and then turn around and do my thing, which is, it's such a small thing, but it's such a big thing. All these little bits, like it's easy to put in a battery. It's easy to build. It comes in good shape. It looks great. That doesn't hurt. All these little things add up to a good flying experience. And you can't discount that because there's other brands that have similar products that are also good, but they don't necessarily add up to the same experience. And so that's what Esteban would say. He would always talk about the experience. And I think the flight experience on the Viper jet is very good. It's not, going to be like my favorite plane ever, but I like it a lot. And I love the look of it. And I love when those gear go up, it's so gorgeous. The nose gear, having that closed door just makes it look so much more sleek than having that wheel that sticks down like on the 70. So just lots of little details. I love the red. It's a little bit lacking on the wing. I feel like a little bit more color would help for visibility. That was one thing I noticed up against these clouds today, but that is a cloud thing. If we had bright sun like it was in our Maiden, you guys would probably be able to clearly see with the bright sun, there's no issue there. But if you get just the right color with just the right lighting, and then there's some fires in South Dakota right now, which I was talking about in Oregon the other day. So the fires in South Dakota caused a really hazy look in our sky today, which is kind of cool. It's also, we came off of like the worst heat wave we've had for a few months, which is nice because we put up 2 pools, not 1, but 2. That's how we celebrate our anniversaries around here. The first one had a leak. The second one didn't. We like the second one a lot better too. Yes. So anyway, guys, if you're thinking about buying this Viper jet, I would highly encourage you to consider it. It's a great plane. It's every bit as good as you expect it to be. Pair it up with an NX-8 and you're gonna be very happy. If you're a beginner pilot, no, this is not for you, but you're not that far off. And I don't say that to, try to drag you along or try to sell you something. You're not that far off. If you're a beginner pilot, this does have safe. I didn't even demonstrate it in this video because we already showed it for like, what, 2 seconds in the maiden. Safe will automatically level the plane, but this would maybe be a 3rd or 4th plane if you're really, really a natural. And I say that with all due respect, people. Everybody was a baby at some point. And I was, and you were, and every other pilot that's flown before. If you're new at this, remember, keep yourself from being a one and done. And that's the way, the number one way you can do that is to buy the appropriate plane for where your skills are. And you are the best judge of that. Not everybody else around you, because you know if you can really handle it, because you know how bad your butt clenches when you do a move and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just did that. So nobody else knows. So this plane is definitely a winner. I would definitely consider it. And yeah, look at the crosswind we've got now. So you guys can see, we can't film that while we're flying, but I was getting that, and every time I would bring it down for the low pass, I'm like, oh, I gotta err on the safe side so I don't hit that sign. Yeah. And it hurt my soul because I wanted to just put it right on top of that yellow line. It would have been so beautiful. We are gonna get you more thoughts on this. This is technically our second thoughts, but we're gonna do more second thoughts. This is more like a maiden version 0.75. You know, it's not quite second thoughts yet because it's so early, but we love this plane. We want you guys to see more of it, and we will be producing more of it, and we hope you'll be around with us here on Brian Phillips RC. Obviously, the camera crew is the best in the industry, and we have the best audience on YouTube. So we hope you'll stay part of it and bring your friends and family, except for maybe your boss, if your boss is into it, because we release these things during work hours. You might want your boss also to be watching. That'd be good. But we love this stuff. We're going to bring you more of it. And also, we have some new cool things coming soon that are a little bit different, but still in the arena. I'm sure that you guys will get a kick out of it. Come back for more. Stay tuned. Right now, we're going to jump straight into the pilot fatigue setting, which is going to look a little something like that, so that you can get that full reverse thrust without having to move the stick around. It's a really helpful tool. I think I'm going to start doing that on jets that I want to slow down. It's just going to really help. And once you get a greasy landing, throw it on. Don't try to do it up in the air or something crazy like that, like, you know, guys do sometimes. Like on the 80mm F-16 video, if you haven't seen it. It's quite hilarious. Anyway, all right, guys, that's all you get for tonight. Stay tuned. We'll show you exactly how we did it. Thanks for watching. YouTube's Brad Phillips. We got a Viper jet again. 90mm. We love this precious plane. So, we've been doing some flying, and I've been doing some soul searching on thrust reverse. And what I want to do on this plane is, as you know, if you've watched the unbox, build, radio setup, and initial maiden flight, which was pretty terrible. I had a nasty save right under the power lines going out the driveway. I can't believe how fast and good this thing corrected. It was a huge save, best save ever, and I know saves. So anyway, I got really lucky. Anyway, so here's the thing. I want to change that so I have the pilot fatigue setting like I did on the F-16, the 80mm Falcon. I really like the way it worked. It gave me a lot of flexibility when landing. I could just flip here and just boom, that's full thrust reverse, okay? That worked really nice. Let's show you how it's configured now. If you don't remember, throttle cuts on, by the way, so nothing's gonna happen. There's 3 settings on auxiliary 3, okay? And the middle setting is just the same as the back setting. So it's actually called 0, 1, and 2 based on this little label here that says G. This is the G switch. Now you don't have to use the G switch, that's what I set up. Okay, so in this setting, thrust reverse is off. It's just forward normal thrust, okay? Then this is forward normal thrust, and then this is reverse thrust. You can see how we did that in our unboxed build and radio setup if you want something super simple, or you can follow these steps, and we are gonna change that right now so that we can have thrust reverse and have the pilot fatigue setting, which is where you get on the ground and you just go full thrust reverse, so you don't have to be fiddling around, just checking my throttle cuts on, with your throttle stick. Because it is very counterintuitive to a pilot to be giving full throttle when you land, okay? Unless you're, you know, like used to launching off of carriers. So, just so you can see how this works, throttle cuts off. Okay, so let's give a little something so you can see, like my shirt or the mic, it's blowing at me. Now it's not, it's going away from me, it's going across the room. That's a long ways away, guys. That's like 18 feet away. So, there's a lot of power here, and I want to take advantage of it, and I want to harness it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at our mixes so we can fix this. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna click into the function list. We're gonna scroll down to mixing. First thing I'm gonna do is turn my throttle cut on so I don't screw anything up. I'm gonna basically shut off this mix, okay? So this mix needs to be eliminated, and the easiest way to do that is just turn everything on and then inhibit it, okay? Actually, I'm gonna turn it on, and then I'm gonna go like this, and reverse that, and reverse this, and reverse that, and reverse this, okay? And you can copy that if you want. So in this case, now it's gonna be a nothing. Horizon doesn't make it very easy to eliminate mixes when you don't want them used, okay? It'd be nice if there's a delete feature in there. Horizon, if you're listening, percentages and that. Okay, so now that we have that done, let's show you how the plane responds. Now, this is all contingent on you from initial power up, going all the way over to this menu, holding the stick down and over, going into the menu, then down and over, then walking through the steps. It's very easy to assign it. You need to set it to the braking to reverse, and then the channel to the channel of your choice. You do need a channel, but you can share the channel with another channel if you so choose to do that. So, for instance, if you don't have enough channels, you could maybe set it like with the flaps or something like that, so that when you have the flaps down at your 100% setting, then it would go ahead and reverse. So anyway, that's what we're looking at right now. So what we're gonna do is we are going to see how it behaves. So throttle cuts off. There's our normal functioning forward thrust with the G switch all the way back, okay? And then when it goes forward in the middle setting, then it's controllable. Then all the way back, it's still controllable, okay? So this one's loud, by the way, so we remember that from the Unbox Build and Radio setup. Okay, so what I wanna do is I wanna make a new mix, okay? And the mix is gonna look something like this. Normal. I'm gonna set the input of switch. Well, let's just do, well, you could either do the switch setting or you could do auxiliary 3. In this case, that's what we're tied to. So why don't we tie it to auxiliary 3, because if we change the switch, it will follow. Okay?
Yeah.
So auxiliary 3 is going to be tied to throttle. So this is where you got to be a little bit careful, because you don't want your plane to like suck itself off the stand. So make sure that you're engaged. But when you're ready to test, you got to turn that off and actually see what happens in reality. Okay, so with auxiliary 3 in the all the way on position, then the British lady's always interrupting me.
She is always
Okay, so when it's in this all the way on condition, that's the, right now, Johnny on the spot, full throttle. Okay, so we have 100 already. So that's gonna be really easy. So we just wanna tie that to throttle. And I never know which direction to put this. So I'm gonna put it over here first. It's probably in the wrong spot. And I'm just gonna set it to 100. Now, everybody, you ready with your ears? I mean, I'm okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and try this now. So first things first, the mix is on, and we'll show you this in full true colors when we're done. So I have it in regular forward, so nothing should happen. Okay, so something happened. So I have that backward, okay? You wanna see why? Because this is auxiliary 3, and it is true even when I have the switch forward. So I need to make this mix only active in setting auxiliary 2 plus 100, okay? So my throttle cut's on, just for safety. Now I'm gonna scroll down here, and I'm gonna set this, you could either set it to switch or auxiliary 3. I'm gonna go ahead and just set it to switch G. Okay, so I want this mix to be true in this condition only, so I'm gonna shut this condition off and this condition off. And then when it's this condition, it will do whatever it is it's going to do. Now, we might have this backwards, so we'll figure that out. Because remember, this is not contingent on the output of throttle. It is, we're actually telling it, this switch is not going to control the throttle. It's just going to control the ESC running the motor an opposite direction. Now we're mixing in the reverse thrust part where it goes full bore, okay? So you ready to cover your ears and stuff? Mm-hmm. Okay, so throttle cuts off, and this is good. Nothing is happening right now, which is good, okay? Except it's not, because it should be blowing backward. That means that we have our rates in the opposite direction, okay? So forward thrust, everything's blowing the normal way, then reverse thrust, controllable, then it's gonna stay reverse right now because we have it wrong. So let's go ahead and change this now. So now all we have to do is just take this, and I'm just gonna slowly dial this in. Nothing happens. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna carefully clear this. Okay, we can clear that with some level of impunity. This is where we can now set how much we want throttle, okay? Now that we know it's working, I'm gonna scroll all the way down to -100. Okay, so now we're gonna try this this is a full speed test. Okay, so my throttle cut is on. I'm going to my normal flight mode, forward thrust, okay? Throttle cut is off. Okay, there's throttle. It's very strong, so you gotta make sure this plane doesn't take off. Then, in the middle setting, it's controller. Okay? Then, in the pilot fatigue, I wanna stop right now setting, it's gonna go full bore. It's gonna be loud. You ready?
Yep.
But throttle cut still works.
Right.
Okay, so everybody, if you wanna copy the settings, now that you've watched us walk through learning how to do that, this is how you're gonna do it. You're gonna assign it to whatever switch you want, okay? And this is how it looks. So switch G is turned off on that setting, which is forward, on that setting, which is controllable. Throttle cut's on, by the way. And then in this setting, we have it set to actually run. Oh, why does it black the thing out? There we go. Then it's set to -100, 0, and offset of 0, okay? So we have that all set. You can copy along and do that whole thing. I'm gonna show you real quick the settings that you would normally take to go into the, to turn on the thrust reverse. We might as well show it real quick. So we're gonna unplug the plane. You have to start and get into the ESC programming within like 30 seconds or something. Okay, so you've got the plane pulled up on your transmitter, plug in your battery, and I'm sorry for those of you who saw this. This is after the flight anyway, so you guys have already got your fill. Okay, so now just scroll all the way over. I was already there, so it came right up. Then down and over. Okay, left aileron, up elevator. Then it's gonna change to step 2. Now it's right elevator. Okay, so it's quite easy, you just do that. And then it's gonna enter the setup menu. So this is like a serial control where you're going back and forth with serial commands. Okay, so this is the brake type. The way it comes by default, you move your stick and it goes left, you move your stick and it goes right. It comes with normal, proportional, and then you set it to reverse. Then you walk down a bunch of settings. This is where you can set off your different settings. By the way, that 3.4 volts is gonna nip somebody in the butt, you know. I'd rather kill a battery than kill a plane and a battery, because if you shut off your throttle early, you're gonna lose your plane. Well, you could lose your plane. Dead stick landings do happen. Also, you can rotate the direction of travel too on there. Like if you're doing an ARF plus or something like that and you happen to get your ESC wires flipped, you can switch it there. Pretty cool. Okay, there's your thrust reverse channel. I think that comes defaulted to channel 7. Okay, so use left and right, we'll change it. Okay, and then exit with save. And then you're good to go. So that's actually turns on the ability. Then you can just scroll back over to your regular screen, clear your timer, and everything is set. So now, as you recall from our unbox build radio setup, we show the whole setup, but the only thing we didn't add was the pilot fatigue setting. And just so you know, with throttle cut engaged, turned on, pilot fatigue is not going to do anything, okay? So just to show you, I have now my switch, my throttle cut off. This should be forward thrust, and it is. Then we can switch at any time into reverse thrust or pilot. Boy, that is so loud.
It's really loud.
Okay, so that being said, we have consumed some juice in this 7,000 milliamp hour pack. So just so you can see, we're at 24.1 volts through the telemetry, or even better. Oh yeah, we're actually good. We're good enough. We're gonna fly with that. Okay. So, guys, you probably saw the flight and then you saw us talk about it. So, whichever direction you saw it, we never really know until we do it. This plane has been awesome. It flies every bit as good, if not better. It definitely flies better than the 70. The 70 is no schlub though, I can tell you that. It's a very good plane. It flies great. It's very good in the air. Where the 70 lacks is no LEDs and the retracts, particularly the nose gear, are pretty weak. So if you're doing grass, you forget it, unless you have extremely well manicured grass. This thing will do great on even rough grass, okay? Now, you're not gonna catch me landing this thing on grass on purpose, but you did maybe notice that I landed on the grass a little bit in the last flight. But that's because I wasn't getting to my reverse in time. So the pilot fatigue setting helped me on the F-16, so we're gonna see how it helps on this one, and we're gonna show you right now, or maybe you just saw. Either way, guys, don't forget to check the link in the video description below. If you're buying this, you'll help support our channel, which we really, from the bottom of our hearts, appreciate. Also, we have Patreon open. We've already got like 11 or 12 people that are supporting us on that, which is super cool to see. And we just started that a few weeks ago, so thank you guys, especially you patrons that are watching. Thank you very much. It's very helpful, and it's a small piece right now, but over time it's gonna become a bigger piece, so we really appreciate that. We have the PayPal thing, that's just in case people don't like monthly giving. I would not wanna do monthly, I would do a one-time thing myself, but I would really prefer you buy a plane. I want you to get bang for your buck, you know, that's what we do here, is we wanna help you spread your RC budget across and get the most bang for your buck. So that's really, we feel like that's the most equitable position that you can take to support us, is just buy stuff from the links, because you're getting what you want. You can also use your, you know, whatever RC points or your credit card mileage or whatever it is that you like to do. That's all applicable. There's none of the links cost you anymore. It's just that they give us a small commission when you do buy from there. So we really appreciate it. And by the way, in quick follow-up, I know some of you guys have asked about the NX8, like, you know, how is it holding up? Have you been happy with it? I've been super happy with it. It's worked really great. I had a DX18 before that, and then a DX8. Now the DX18 was a Gen 1, so I didn't have the annoying British lady, which was kind of nice. But at the same time, the boop, 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 beep, beep, boop, I had that on this, which is really nice. And the DX18, I never actually used it. So I think it actually was supported, but I'm not sure on the new ones if it'd be supported. So very happy we did use the Wi-Fi to do an upgrade to version, I think it's like 3.8 or something like that. Change the keyboard, so I have a legacy keyboard that we're using in our radio setups. You'll notice that, and it's super easy to do that. If you need help, just ask me. I've got a template answer I can reply for you, but just scroll into system setup, go over one page, and it's right there. So really happy with this. We haven't run out of channels yet, but we have gotten close. We are using all the channels now with thrust reverse, flaperons, with crow, and retracts, safe, select, and thrust reverse. We are using all the channels now. So in not so quick order, we may be starting to talk about NX10s, which is a little bit scary because the NX8 has been great. We haven't run out of channels yet, but we're getting close. That being said, this plane is great. If you haven't already bought one, if you haven't considered it, it's great. We reviewed the Sirius the other day. We have a second thoughts coming on that. That's a great plane, we really like it too. The 80mm is definitely not in the same exact realm as this 90. This has the AV and ESC. It's a far superior plane in terms of, it also costs a lot more, so we don't mean to compare apples to oranges, but just wanted to remind you that the Sirius has been treating us well. We have another flight, hopefully you'll enjoy that. But this thing is really kind of the thing right now. We're loving it, it's fun. It's a lot less scary than the 80mm F-16, which I still love it because of the looks and just the feel, the general look and feel of it. But I think that this one's gonna be the ticket for many of you. It's an easier to fly plane. It lands a heck of a lot shorter. The thrust reverse is more effective than on the 80mm F-16, and the power just gets you up and out of the grass if you happen to be flying in grass. We aren't typically flying out of grass unless we make a mistake. So, guys, we really appreciate you. Come back for more. We have so much on the docket that I can't even begin to list it because, well, first of all, we can't tell you about some of it because it's new releases. And otherwise, we've been just really loving all this re-release stuff with the new receivers from Verizon. They've been great. It's surprising, a few of the older releases, I didn't think a thing of it at the time, but I'm going from the DX18. The other day we were flying Esteban and I, and then Zane and I, and on 2 separate days. The DX18, flying some of the older ones, I'm noticing that there is quite a big improvement. And I didn't expect that. I thought the new receiver would be just kind of like apples to apples, but it's actually been a little bit better. And I know that there's been a small cost increase on a few of them, like a couple of like $10 or $20. So that's regrettable, but it's kind of it's a wave of the future, I think. So if you're thinking about buying one of these, all I can say, and I can't tell you why, is if you want it, you should buy it now and not in like 2 weeks. So thank me later. Anyway, follow the link in the video description below. We want to help you stretch your RC budget as far as you can get it. And this thing is sweet. Come back for more. All right, YouTube. So we missed one detail, and that is that on this particular ESC, it appears you can actually run the servo output higher than 100. Okay, so throttle cuts on, just so you know. Okay, so this is our mix. It's auxiliary 3. In this case, we're tied switch G to auxiliary 3, and then that's through throttle. Okay, we've made our assignment to auxiliary 3 for the throttle, or excuse me, for the reverse thrust. That's done in the ESC programming. Then we made the singular mix here. Okay, so we tied only in position 2, which is when this is back toward us. We have a rate of 0 here and minus 125 here with an offset of 100. So watch what happens. Okay, I'm going to go from throttle cut. I'm in forward mode. Throttle cuts off. Forward throttle. We have a little bit of wind, so we're going to try to... Okay, so that's forward throttle. Then controllable, reverse thrust. And then I'm going to get out there a little bit. And then check this out. Pilot fatigue. It's actually 100 and... Throttle cuts on, it goes to 150%. So let's show them that right now. Okay, are you good?
Hold on, I'm having a hard time.
Well, try to get that focus.
Okay.
Okay, so then it's controllable, then pilot fatigue. Pilot fatigue. See how it's at 150? Throttle cuts on. It goes to minus 150 on the throttle. So that's pretty cool stuff. So actually not minus 150, it should be plus 150. Let's see what it does. 150. 150 means all the way at the top of the sweep, and then 50%. It's the very top of the range. Okay, so that's really cool. So that means that you could slow this thing down even faster. Now I'm not sure what that means for the ESC and whether or not it's going to pull more power than it should be pulling. I guess only time will tell. But for now, we couldn't resist sharing that with you because it's such an easy switch. And basically, so now we have throttle cut like usual. We have forward flight mode. We have reverse controllable. And then we have pilot fatigue. All of which are protected by throttle cut. But just make sure you're not in pilot fatigue and shut off your throttle cut. Because it's going to go full bore in reverse. Okay? So switch discipline is important with thrust reverse. I'm just going to warn you about that. And this thing is awesome. So guys, if you haven't already bought one, you might want to check the link below. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.